Let's go ahead and talk about the many tools that you'll use to select things inside of Photoshop CS4. You'll find this image called corn5.jpg in the images folder. And anyone who knows me know I loves me some corn. So what does a selection do for you inside of Photoshop? Well, two things. If you don't have anything selected at all, then everything is selected. What I mean by that is, if I go to the filter menu and I go to blur and I choose Gaussian blur, everything is affected by that because nothing has been saved by a selection. Let me show you that same trick using a rectangular marquee. So I'll go ahead and just click and drag like so, and I'll apply that same filter. Only what's inside of that selection is affected. So selections will either hit everything or whatever you have inside of a selection. Now let's take a look at the tools we'll be talking about in this section. First of all, as you saw, we have some tools that we can click and hold down to reveal different kinds of marquees, such as a rectangular marquee, elliptical, single row, and single column. Now these guys are really good for websites when you want to have a color that goes across the page. Elliptical is really great when you want to do something like a vignette. So you have a portrait of someone and then you would have some kind of effect applied to it, such as feathering. To deselect a selection, just press Command or Control D for dog and it goes away. The next tool is this guy right here, which is a black arrow called the Move tool. Now in Illustrator, there's a white arrow called the Direct Selection tool, and it usually lives right next to this tool. But in Photoshop, the Move tool's up here next to the rectangular and other marquees. This tool will move something on a layer. What I'll do very quickly is create a brand new layer, and I'll just grab my paintbrush and paint the stroke on that layer. Now I'll grab the Move tool, and as you see, I'm on this layer. I click and I can drag that object around without affecting the layer beneath it. So that's what that will do for you. I'll go ahead and click on the eyeball to hide that. One of my favorite tools lives here, the Lasso, Polygonal, and the Magnetic Lasso tool. What these tools will allow you to do is to either click and drag out a shape like this, which becomes a selection when you let go of the mouse, or with the Polygonal Lasso tool, click, move your mouse, click, move your mouse, click, move your mouse, click, move your mouse, until you have a selection that you want. To close that selection, either double click somewhere or put your pointer at the origin point. Once again, Command or Control D to deselect. Under here is a really cool tool called the Magnetic Lasso. This tool pays attention to edges. So for example, you see how dark this piece of the corn is? Well, this tool should be able to click and drag on its own the outline. So watch this. I'll click, and I'm not going to click anymore. I'm simply going to move my mouse and guide it so that the magnetic lasso locks on to that color by itself. Now, if you go too fast, you'll mess it up. So you have to have a little patience with this tool. Other selection tools we'll talk about in this section are the Magic Wand and Quick Selection tool, which allow you to click to grab a selection of things. And let me go to another layer here. Let's try that there. I can click and grab this area here, here, or anywhere. We also have the eyedropper tool, which allows you to select a color and then have it show up in this foreground swatch here. So I can go ahead and click here, and that color goes there. Click here, and that color goes there. And last but not least, we have our cropping and slicing tools. Slicing is for web design, and cropping is so that we can click and drag and crop out the areas that we're not interested in having in our image. To go ahead and cancel this, just hit Escape on your keyboard.